Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be picking out our free book through Amazon First Reads for the month of May. Let's go! So if you're unfamiliar with Amazon First Reads, it's a service that Amazon provides to its Amazon Prime members. Every month at the beginning of the month, their editors pick out a handful of books that aren't released yet, and Prime members get to pick one ebook for free, and you get access to it before it's released. So all of these books we're going to be looking at are going to be released on June 1st. So you get early access, so that's pretty cool. I always like to see what the different options are. Sometimes there's things that I'm excited for, and then other months it's just a complete miss and I'm not excited about anything. So I'm really curious to see how this month is. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more book videos. Here are some of our options. So you have the little section at the bottom that says editor notes, and that will tell you kind of about the book. But most of the time, I don't find that helpful. I just find it having the editor being this is why the editor's excited for the book, and it doesn't actually tell me what the book's about. So I like to go to Goodreads and kind of figure out the synopsis for the book and see if it's even something I'm interested in. Okay, so our first book is a thriller, The Man Burned by Winter, a Rooker Lindstrom thriller. The Man Burned by Winter. That's a cool title. I'm pretty into that. So let's see what Goodreads has to say. It's an investigative journalist on edge. Another serial killer. So many people write about serial killers. The last few months, I feel like all of the books have been about serial killers. A serial killer testing his limits. What they have in common can freeze the blood. Okay. Still reeling from a personal tragedy, investigative journalist Rooker Lindstrom finds a grim hideaway from the world. Okay, we're in a cabin on Minnesota's Deer Lake, and it was given to him by his late father, one of the most notorious serial killers in the state. If the walls of this murder house could talk, they'd scream. Okay. What? Okay, Rooker, are we keeping this cabin? I don't think we should keep this cabin. Detective Hess Harlow needs something for Rooker only he can provide. A window into the mind of a murderer. A copycat is on the prowl, following in the footsteps of Rooker's father. After reluctantly agreeing to take on the role of consultant, Rooker makes a chilling discovery. Every victim, 5 and counting, is a depraved taunt meant only for him. Rooker is not just tracking a killer playing sick games in this brutal Minnesota winter. Rooker is confronting his past. Maybe working with Tess is Rooker's last chance at redemption. I don't know why. I can never read these things with a straight face. All I'm thinking about is why do we still have this cabin? Maybe working with Tess is Rooker's last chance at redemption, but to outrun his father's legacy, he must follow a darker path still to come. Alright, Rooker. You got some shit going on. Historical fiction. Last Summer Boys. This is a coming-of-age debut. A naive yet determined Appalachian boy will go to any length to save his family over the course of one life-changing summer. Okay, if you're famous, you don't have to go to war. Summer 1968. 13-year-old Jack Elliott is trying to devise a secret plan to keep his oldest brother, Pete, from the draft. If famous boys don't go to war, he'll make his brother the small town's biggest celebrity. Jack gets unexpected help when his book-smart cousin, Frankie, arrives in their rural Pennsylvania town for the summer. Together they convince Jack brothers to lead an expedition to find the fighter jet that crashed many winters ago, the perfect adventure to make Pete a hero. But with a greedy developer determined to flood their valley, a beautiful girl occupying his middle brother's attentions, a wild motorcycle gang causing trouble in town, and a disturbed neighbor setting fires, Jack realizes it isn't just Pete who needs saving. Oh boy, you're gonna save the town, huh? This beautifully told tale is a heartwarming tribute to innocence, first love, and the unbreakable bond of brotherhood. Yeah, don't really have much to say about that one. I mean, it sounds nice. Psychological thriller. Under Her Care. That's a pretty cool cover. I like that. This is a shocking thriller about the disturbing complexities of a mother's love and the deadly consequences of unraveling family secrets. On a humid summer day in Alabama, A mayor's wife turns up brutally murdered under a railroad bridge. Standing next to her body is 14-year-old Mason Hill, the autistic son of former Miss USA Genevieve Hill. Genevieve. Ooh, Genevieve. Does anybody watch American Dad? All I can think of Genevieve the Vance. The locals are quick to level their verdict on young Mason. He did it. Okay. Well, I'm kind of curious. Is there a murder weapon? He's a kid. How was she murdered at least? Like, does he look guilty, or did he just stumble upon this? The town detective calls in local autism expert Casey Walker to consult on the case. At first, Casey tries to keep an open mind, but the more she spends with Genevieve, the more her unease grows, and she suspects that Genevieve is doing more than just protecting her son. Casey meets Savannah, Genevieve's 19-year-old daughter. Savannah, as it turns out, has some disturbing secrets of her own. Of course she does. But as Casey dives ever deeper into the Hill family dynamic, her search for the truth leads to another shocking murder, one that shatters her understanding of the human condition in ways she's never imagined. Who else died? I'm a little curious. Nice little murder mystery. Okay, we have a women's fiction, The Candid Life of Meena Dave. A woman embarks on an unexpected journey into her past in an engrossing novel about identity, family secrets, and rediscovering the need to belong. Yeah, so many family secrets all the time. Meena Dave is a photojournalist and a nomad. She has no family, no permanent address, and no long-term attachments, preferring to observe the world at a distance through the lens of her camera. But Meena's solitary life is turned upside down when she unexpectedly inherits an apartment in a Victorian brownstone in the historic Black Bay, Boston. That's nice. Though Meena's impulse is to sell it and keep moving, the first rational thought, the thought the guy should have had about the murder cabin in the woods, like, let's get rid of that shit instead of keeping it. She decides to use her journalistic instinct to follow the story that landed her the home of a stranger. It's a mystery that comes with a series of hidden clues, a trio of meddling Indian aunties, and a handsome next-door neighbor. For Meena, it's a chance for newfound friendships, community, and a culture she never thought possible, and a window into her past she never expected. Now, as everything unknown to Meena comes into focus, she must reconcile who she wants to be with who she really is. Okay, that sounds really nice. I'm pretty into that one. The cover looks really nice, too. Meena is a top contender. Okay, memoir, The Community. An arresting and emotional memoir about a family's indoctrination into a religious cult, a daughter coming to terms with a parent's devastating choices, and the trials ahead in post-9/11 New York. Oh, wow, okay. 1978, when Jamiyla was 2 years old, her mother, Umi, quit her job, converted to Islam with her husband, and moved into an exclusive Muslim society in Brooklyn. Once inside the community, the family was separated by its powerful and charismatic leader, Dwight York, who was hiding behind the name Imam Isa. Instead of the devotional refuge they imagined, the community was a nightmare of controlled abuse and unspeakable secrets. 40 years later, Jamiyla was ready to evacuate and understand a past buried in bad dreams, disturbing memories, and an inexplicable rage. It was a place Umi never wanted to return to. Jamiyla had to. Jamila's emotional memoir tells her family's story of a life inside and outside the cult, and of escaping into new challenges as conservative Muslims in secular Brooklyn they left behind. A harrowing and deeply personal history fraught with racial tension and devastating personal betrayals. The Community is also a hopeful story brimming with Black pride, justice, and the long overdue healing between a daughter and mother. So there definitely are like moments when I'm reading these memoir ones where I'm like, damn, that sounds good. And yeah, that seems pretty gripping. I'm actually very interested in that, mainly because of the whole cult dynamic of that. I find that very fascinating. I think that would be a really interesting read, actually. Next, we have a romance book. Oh my gosh. The last 2 months, we have had no romance books from Amazon First Reads, and I've been pretty salty about it. And they've been all downer books, and I've been kind of annoyed, but I'm happy. There's a romance book. Finally, I feel like someone listened to me. So, West Side Love Story. Let's see what you got. I'm so excited. Ugh. I feel like 3.78. I feel like all of these other ones I've been looking at, like the ratings from people who have already, like from ARCs or whatever, they have already been rated like pretty highly, like in the 4s. And of course, the romance book is at a 3.78. That's a great sign. A heart-stirring romance of star-crossed love, feuding familias, and the bond of sisterhood. Two families in Texas, both alike in dignity, rivalries, and passion. Having grown in the nurturing household of Casa Capuleta, Mariana will do anything for Familia to solve her adoptive parents' financial problems in their rapidly changing San Antonio comunidad. Mariana and her younger sisters are determined to win the battle of the mariachi bands. That sounds fun. That means competing against Hugo Montero, their father's arch nemesis, and his band, and escalating decades-old feud. It also raises the stakes of Mariana's forbidden attraction to a certain dark-eyed mariachi who sets her heart racing. To Angelo Montero's Familia, Mariana is strictly off limits, but that doesn't stop him from pursuing her. It sounds kind of cheesy. For once, I'm not, like, super excited by the romance book. As their secret affair intensifies and the competition grows fierce, they're swept up in a brewing storm of betrayals, rivalries, and broken ties. Against the odds, they vow to bring peace, but sacrifices must be made and consequences weighed for the two star-crossed lovers to make beautiful music together. I cannot stop the whole time I'm reading that, I cannot stop thinking about this super, super cheesy movie with Emma Roberts. What was the name of that movie? That's gonna drive me nuts. I watched it, where's my phone? On Hulu, I think, or on Netflix, like a couple months ago. And it was just like this kind of, like, they're an Italian family, and they have like a pizza competition, and it's a rivalry. But that's literally all I could think of when I was reading this synopsis. Little Italy. That's what this makes me think of. Little Italy. That's the only thing I could think of that whole time I was reading this. Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. That movie was so cheesy, and I'm afraid the book's going to be too cheesy, and I'm not going to like it. Okay. I'll think about that. Okay, our last book. They always do the children's picture book. I always say I don't pick it, because I never do. This children's picture book is called Thursday, and it looks like a bummer. Oh, it's about divorce. Sad. Okay. So obviously I'm not going to pick that. But our last book is Alternate History, The Peacekeeper. Against the backdrop of a never colonized North America, a broken detective embarks on an emotional and twisting journey towards solving two murders, rediscovering family, and finding himself. North America was never colonized. The United States and Canada don't exist. The Great Lakes are surrounded by an independent nation, and the village of, I'm not even going to pretend to try to pronounce that. A peacekeeper confronts his devastating past. I already can't pronounce normal things. I'm not going to. 20 years to the day, this person's mother was murdered and his father confessed. Ever since caring for his still traumatized younger sister, it's been his privilege and penance. Now, on the same night of the Myanmar harvest, another woman is slain, his mother's best friend. This leads to a seemingly impossible connection to take him far from the world he's ever known. The major city is home to the victim's cruelly estranged family and two people they never wanted to see again, his imprisoned father and lover who broke his heart. As questions mount, the answers will change his and his sister's life forever, because he's about to discover that everything about those lives has been a lie. So, I mean, it sounds interesting, you know, what North America would have been like if it wouldn't have been colonized and, like, this different, like, world. It's a very unique idea. I like when, like, a new synopsis or, like, an author comes up with something that, like, I'm like, oh, I've never really, like, heard of anything like that before. So, it sounds pretty interesting. Okay, so what do I want? Let's see. I'm kind of into the candid life of Meena Dave. For my choice, I'm actually surprised that I'm not going with the romance one, since I've been complaining about there not being a romance book for so long. But I don't know. The woman's fiction, The Candid Life of Meena Dave, that one just kind of, like, caught my eye. I think it's very interesting. Like, I want to know what the mystery is. I want to know who gave her this house. So I'm actually very curious about that one, and I think that's what I'm going to pick. As always, thanks for watching today's video and for spending your time with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye!